We are live.
Jack Matt asked.
Jack Matt, thanks for asking the question.
So you have a fresh bricklayer, finally qualified. What would you pay him?
Oh, okay. I need to know where you're at country-wise.
No
What did I used to pay bricklayers? I used to pay, it was always, bricklayers, yeah, thank you. Bricklayers were always up and down, and we always used to pay them by the 1,000. And, I mean, it ranged from $500 1,000 to, $1,000 1,000, which essentially is 50 cents a brick to $1 a brick. So I don't know if that helps you out, but or is he talking hourly rate? Hang on a minute, I'm talking subcontract, sorry.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, look, let's say, but if on a subcontract rate, you should be able to work that out. Like for us with carpenters, right, let's say 6 months ago, I was working on, paying lead carpenters up to about $35 an hour. Now we've had to move the goalpost and we've got to pay good guys. Matter of fact, one of my general contractors just went to an agreement with a brand new lead carpenter, and we sort of got him on he's starting on $40 an hour, plus all the labor burden, plus probably medical as well. So, okay, these days, it's $1.20 to $1.50 a brick. You got to be shitting me. That's bullshit.
A brick.
Why has the bricklayer's wages gone up and my square foot rate on carpentry hasn't? So, whatever. Maybe Bricky's loam's gone up and bags of cement have gone up. I don't freaking know. But there you go. Let's go. Next question. Hope that helps. It probably doesn't. Now he's more confused. He's like, that Max character is just full of bullshit.
Jay Roworth.
Thanks, Jay Roworth. Thanks for your question.
Asked, biggest advice for someone starting to subcontract?
Yeah, look, I think what you want to do is, like I always say, dream big, start small, and systemize the shit out of everything. So, I would say, I don't know what he is, whether he's a carpenter or a bricklayer or a tile setter or drywaller or whatever, but across the trades, what the best advice is to make sure that your billing system, because what I see, and I still see it today, it blows my mind with shit going on in this town, that there's people that still invoice in writing on pieces of paper, or invoice books from Staples. Now, I'm not bagging the shit out of that. If that's where you're at, that's where you're at. But I'm like, this is the advice that I would get. Someone just asked me, what's the best advice as a subcontractor? I would say what you've got to be able to do is you, as a small operator, have got to be able to interface or deal with larger corporates, right? So larger corporates are going to have standards up here, whereas you, as an individual sub just starting out, you might have one of these, I'm going to write my invoice, from an invoice book that I got from Staples. And you know what? Some of these building companies, like really for me, any of my corporate services, don't even bother giving it to me in paper. Email me a PDF. And so if you can't do that as a bare minimum, and I would expect that everyone would be able to do that. If you can't, Google that shit. I think, $20 a month for a QuickBooks, and there's bound to be other cheaper apps and all kinds of stuff. But you've got to be able to tell your bookkeeper the story. You've got to be able to look at what you're spending on costs in your subcontract business, and you've got to be able to sort of, organize your income and make sure to evaluate, are you making money? Who's that nutsacks? I'm in Ontario, too far from salt water to know what it tastes like. Fair enough. I don't normally go to the beach to drink that shit, but okay. So that's for you. What you've got to do is you've got to probably think a little bit higher and bigger. And if you don't know what that is because you don't know what you don't know, then you're going to have to go and educate yourself. And I don't know that it wouldn't be terribly hard to figure out, hey, what have I got to do as a subcontractor to have minimal professionalism? That's what I would say. So hope that one helps. Next question. We've got a few people lining up now. Marky Mark, welcome. CBC Custom Building, welcome. Atomic Weld,
We're onto our
welcome.
sheet.
What's that?
The sheet. How old do you have to be to start an apprenticeship?
Oh, well, I mean, I got out of school and went and did a bit of tech college for about 3 or 4 months and then ended up as an apprentice. So I was 16 and 4 months or something. So I think legal limit. Look, if you're, the thing is, if your dad's a GC and he's a carpenter and you can work with him from day dot, that's always a great place to start. But, I guess if you were looking at legal, you'd want to probably graduate if you don't hate school as much as I hated school. I mean, I blew those doors open and pissed off in grade 11. So I was in private education. The old man said, well, you're not cutting it at school, pal, so you can go to work. That was pretty much what happened. And so, finished school a bit early and then got a job. So, Yeah, that's, as soon as you can get your foot in the door, but, in these days, they're probably encouraged to graduate, go to grade 12, and then get stuck into it. So that would make you, 18, 19, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, hit me. What else we got?
This is a comment on one of our videos.
Right.
I can't do anything but cost plus because the houses are too big and the customers change something every week. What's your thoughts on this?
Who asked that question?
I don't have a username.
Okay, look, I think that I understand and I want to apply a lot of empathy to that. But the thing is, I did a $1.1 million 5-plex that was a fixed price. So what I would say is that I don't want to criticize, but I had to become an estimating ninja. I went and did very much a basics in estimating course. I could have, maybe should have done an advanced in estimating. You've got to be able to build the projects in your head. Fortunately, I'd spent 15 years in and out of construction sites. And more lately, I was into, to the later or to the back end of that 15 years, I was on townhouse developments which had 50 to 70 townhouses. So I was working in it as a subcontract carpenter, doing finishing and exterior and things like that, and even framing. And so I developed, an understanding of, what the build process was. So that helped me. So that's one thing. You've just got to be able to build it in your head, and you've got to be very confident in your estimating capability and the product that you're producing within the estimate. And I think that, if you have a systemized approach to estimating, and look, I mean, I've been sort of talking about putting some resources out there, but it's just I haven't got round to it. But one of the things is a 10-page estimating checklist, which is what's included in my franchise operations file. And that's something that I urge my guys to use and literally print it out and tick it off as you go through, cross out shit you don't need. So that helps with the estimating side. But then on the flip side, it's like, okay, we get into construction, and then what do we do when they start, hey, Max, now that you've demolished that wall, I see that I would like a window on the other side. So what that does is, and of course, if I asked you, Jill, where are we up to with change orders? I don't know. That might have been in Build Exact, actually. So if people change their mind, here's the deal. It's just like, okay, so what happens, and you've got to cover this off in the contract. So in our 13-page building contract, we talk about change order protocol, change order policy. They initial it down the bottom to they acknowledge the fact that I've run through it, very much like our car insurance company in the ICBC. And so you've got to have your change order protocol. That leads me into saying, well, for both estimating and change order protocol, you're going to need a proper job management software. That's going to cost you somewhere between $180 and $250 a month. And you might go, shit, that's expensive. And I don't disagree. But I'm telling you, if you cock up on a job and it costs you 10 grand, a couple of $100 a month for a couple of months to get that estimate right and manage that job better is a good investment. So yeah, I hope that helps. And do we have the Build Exact one? What was the Build Exact software one? That was 75. So episode 75 of the Business for Builders. Now that's both podcast and YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So episode 75 talks about how I go about using our job management software called Build Exact. We've got over 100 franchises in 3 different countries using that shit. That will cost you about $250. If you're in about $250 a month. If you're in Canada, email me, max@businessforbuilders.ca. That email will probably be lurking in the bio somewhere or something, but you'll chase me down somehow. And if you're in Canada, might be able to, swing you a bit of a deal. I know the guy in Vancouver who's the business development manager there, and we might be able to get you a few bucks a month off. So see how you go with that. Anyway, next question. Let's go.
We've got comments stacking up, so let's just.
All right, so I'm going to try and be really expeditious because, as you can see, I love to have a chat. Except we run out of beer way too early. So righto, they'll tell me the name. I want to thank him, and then we'll get into the question. Go.
T asked a question.
T,
like the
letter T.
Yep.
Thanks, T. Thanks for the question. Let's go.
Should I get into remodels or new construction? What's less stressful? What's paying out more?
Okay, so here's the deal. Okay, they're both stressful. That's what I'll say straight away. The difference, the way I see it, it's just one man's opinion between new and Renos. Renos, we have more gross profit in, and this was that off TikTok?
Yes.
T off TikTok,
yes,
right?
T's off TikTok.
Okay, so Renos have more gross profit, but they also come with more risk. Now, I can't speak to cost plus because when I came here, like I said, I did townhouses over $1 million and we did that fixed price. So I can't speak to cost plus, but I can just tell you what I do. And so Renos come with more risk, so we apply more markup, but I also, the clients understand they're going to get better service. That's what we talk to them about. We want to convert them into raving fans by the end of the project. We want to make sure that we're organized in our financial management and the execution of the reno. Now, the upside with new is that because it's more predictable. So we know really, like I can build an estimate for a new home and use assemblies within my job management. So every lineal foot of footings, I can calculate excavation, all of the the boxing, what do they call it here? Bloody hell, I can't believe I've got a mind block. Anyway, all the pegs, all the rebar, and all the foundation walls, and all the exterior, and all the floor, like everything I can just calculate. Why? Because it's so damn predictable. Now, we charge less than that, probably 20% of the overall markup. It's, there's a lot less in that. And the good thing about new is you don't need to have workers because you can sub it all out. That's the other thing. So we generate a lot of purchase orders. Not so straightforward on Renos. Renos, you might have to have a lead carpenter and a carpenter's helper to go in and do some demolition because sometimes you're doing bathrooms, you're doing smaller jobs. So the contract value, that's the upside as well for new, is that you're doing some bigger contracts. They might start at 350, 400, 500, as opposed to Renos. You'll do $500,000 and you're just doing kitchens. You're gonna have to do 8 kitchens or something to get $500,000. Whereas I can do one new build for $500,000. That's you spread the risk with Renos because I've got 8 customers doing $50,000 each. Alternatively, I've got one customer doing $500,000, so I'm actually taking more of a risk because all my cash flow is in one. Hope that helps. Let's go. Next one. I'm getting the wind up cues like, okay.
Lil QZ Vert.
Thanks for the question, Lil QZ Vert. I don't know what that is, but okay.
It's Lil Uzi Vert. He's a rapper.
Ah,
yeah.
Right.
Anyway,
having cap on backwards.
Having major difficulties in recruitment, insulation installers, $20 an hour, starting. What can I do?
I've got a buddy in town. I don't know which neck of the woods, and if that's an American dollar value, then it's going to be fairly equal to what my buddy does. And let's say, okay, if you're Canadian, then what I'm going to say is that hourly rate is probably a little bit low. I know people that have done insulation, but my buddy in town runs an insulation company, and he's advertising at $25 an hour, and he has a hard time getting and keeping guys. I mean, let's face it, installing installation's a shit of a job. What's up? What are you laughing at?
I'm just saying it is, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because I got a boy over here that used to do it. So, I think I don't like to say pay people more money because that's just bullshit. I think maybe if you've got benefits, like medical benefits, you've got to become a preferred employer, and it's not just about the hourly rate. This morning we did an early Q&A. No, we did a podcast this morning with a fellow out of New York. So we're all here at we're here at 7:30. And, so what I did is I thought, okay, that's a big early start. We're doing this now. So it's going to be a 12-hour day. I put on breakfast, right? I put on breakfast for my team because we need a little bit of downtime in between. So you got to get creative and figure out without being a charity, and I'm not saying be a pushover or nothing like that, but I'm telling you when it comes to recruitment, it's like doing leads, like working with new clients. You've got to move a lot of dirt to find the gold. And the gold is this big and the mountain of dirt is like this. So I would say don't quit. There's always good out there. It just takes time to get to the good. That's what I'd say. Next question. Thanks for the question.
Peter Rex Hardy asked a question.
Peter.
I've almost finished my builder's course, but I'm 25. How do you earn people's trust while being young? I'm a Chippy.
Yeah, time, mate. It's the only way. And the fact that he said Chippy, I bet you he's East Coast for sure. Look, I think at 25, you're probably right at a really good age where you've got, if you did an apprenticeship like I did, start at 16, finish at 20, you've been in and around the trade for 5 years, you've got your builder's license credentials, I'll assume. And, I think that, I think over in a time space, I think what you want to do is now invest. Look at the time you've just spent, 9 years since the time you got on the tools as a shit-kicking apprentice. You're now 25. You've done 9 years. Dude, you've racked up a bunch. There you go. He's in New South Wales. You've done really well for a 25-year-old. What I need you to do now is to consolidate, right? You've got really good credentials. You've got a little bit of experience. I would think what you're going to need to develop now is, and this is why I always say, the more you learn, the more you earn. You got to understand a lot about what I want you to do is not necessarily focus on construction, although there is building sciences and new products coming in and new systems and things like that. What I need you to do is keep another eye on how you manage finance and the systems therein, and also how you develop business, right? So I've got some smart asses overnight that are like, oh, no shit, Sherlock, because I'm spelling out some pretty basic detail, right? But then I hit him back and I'm going, all right, hot shot. Well, why don't we start talking about work in progress accounting, double entry bookkeeping? Let's look at your equity position in your company. Let's analyze your finances and understand what your level of liability is. What do I get in response? Crickets, nothing, right? So what I'm trying to do is cater on these channels for all of the, the young guys and gals coming through. You know why? Because I didn't get shit when I was 25. So, I admire Peter for giving it a crack early on. It's about maturity. You're going to do business. That's not about age. It's actually about your maturity level, your level of confidence, and how you talk to your clients and how organized in your business are. And I'm not talking anything about on-site, although I would just expect that you're organized in your delivery of the product. It's how you manage. And this is why you might be good on the tools and then you go back to your office and you write out a friggin' invoice. The client's just looking at you going, what are you, a business or are you just a chop shop? Like, seriously. So, Pete, I would just hang in there. By the time you get to 30, Pete, I think you would have hit your stride for sure, mate. Just start thinking, like I said, dream big, start small, and systemize the shit out of everything. We're going to get swag that says that. Dream big, start small, systemize
Oh, you
the
didn't
shit.
like swag.
I'm starting to like swag.
Dude, this kid ripped me a new one because I said we
I didn't rip you another one.
Yes,
Next question. Just
Central Valley Quality
goes,
Builder
right.
asks you a question.
We finally got to Central Valley, bro.
Yeah.
We are going all the way to Fresno. Let's do it.
What are the profits for subbing everything out instead of having employees? I had many employees this year, but I can't get them to work.
Yep. Now, are you doing, can you just, Renos or new builds? I'm going to assume Renos, because if he had that many humans, I would say he's into Renos. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing new, I mean, everything can be purchased, ordered out. Everything can be, organized through subs. So let's say Central Valley's doing Renos. I think what you want to try and do is you want to run a man short all the time. And I don't know how long you've been in business. I don't know what your business systems look like. I don't know if you're spending the majority of your time off the tools and doing sales and business admin, if you like. But what I subscribe to is, sometimes us builders need what I call an office nanny. And that's just someone who's actually emotionally removed from the clients and the actual project site, and they're not involved in the inner workings, but they've got a really good objective view. They're good at bookkeeping. They're good at they're good at accounting. Perhaps they've got a good understanding of accounting. Yes, and small commercial. Righto. So, and you're more on the tools. Got it. Right. So the thing is, you've got to what you're trying to do is slowly take a one step back away from the front line until all that you do is really in sales and business management and business development. And so I think this is where management comes in, where you might have a lead carpenter who actually does some of the superintendent work. I mean, every time, the minute you take guys off the tools, they now go into the other category where you've got to pay them out of the gross profit. Whereas if you've got general carpenters helpers on the tools, they actually are cost of goods sold. You can actually take them out of the budget you've allowed in your estimate. Now I'm talking from a fixed price standpoint. So really, if you're having, maybe it's the fact that you just, like I've said this before, and I got absolutely slaughtered because people don't agree with the way that I would do it. But I hire quickly and I fire quickly. But there's a lot of kind candor. I've got to fire my bass player. I play in a cover band playing rock and roll, and the bass player's not cutting it. And I've got to call him up. I tried calling him, but he didn't take my call. I've got to let him go. I'm not going to destroy him. It's a small town. He's not a bad bass player, but he just doesn't have, he's not a fit for where I want him to be as my bass player. So I've got to just cut him loose. And I've only known the guy for about 3 or 4 weeks. We've jammed maybe 3 or 4 times. And so, I think you've got to hire quickly, fire quickly. Again, go back to move the dirt, find the gold. Again, it's like, what are you doing? What hourly rate is? What's it telling you when you can't keep people or you can't get them to work? See, what you're going to do is if you're only paying them $25 when you should be paying them $30, you're going to get the $25 an hour attitude, because the guys that want 30 or 35 or 40 aren't even going to respond to your ad. That's why you're getting the wrong guys. So like I just said before, is that we were putting our ads for general carpenters up to $35 an hour, even with extended medical, and we weren't really getting any. Then we jacked that to 40, up to 40. So in other words, you might start at 35 for 90 days, and then we'll discuss, an increase. But yeah, it's just now we're having to actually push the envelope, which means because we're doing fixed price, we obviously want good labor to produce a good result or a good, a good product. But, it is our guys that make us look good. There's no question. It's all about developing that team. So you've got to be an awesome talent scout and you've got to have a really good culture within your business. So, righto, Central Valley. Glad to see, mate, the more you learn, the more you earn. So just stay close and, just keep an eye on the podcast or the Business for Builders YouTube and we'll keep putting out content and answering your questions. And feel free to email me one question at a time, max@businessforbuilders.ca. Next question.
We're just going to skip all these questions really quick and go to Bobby's comment. It's not really a statement. It's not a question. It's a statement. He said, I was listening to your podcast on the job today, starting from the beginning. Intro to marketing is where I'm at.
So
Bobby was just listening to your podcast.
He's just putting it out there.
Yeah,
and mate, I appreciate you having a listen while you're working away. And that gentleman that I interviewed this morning, I mean, he works for and reports to Gary Vaynerchuk. So I don't know, both in Instagram and TikTok, if anybody's heard of Gary Vaynerchuk, give us a thumbs up. But I was chatting to a guy by the name of Joe Catrone, who's been working for Gary Vaynerchuk in VaynerMedia for 9 years. He's dealt with campaigns, for some of the big beer, labels like Budweiser and Bud Light and Stella and even J&J Baby. Like, he's done some big corporate shit. So we had a good chat. So I'm pretty sure that's what Bobby's referring to, eh? Just a bit of an introduction to marketing. No. Yeah. All right. Have we got another question?
Yep.
Sweet.
I'm not sure how to pronounce this. Sols PMD.
Time out for a sec. G'day, Rion. That's my Kiwi buddy. How you doing, champ? All right, go ahead. What's the question?
He asked, do you think getting an office for my GC company is important, or do I stick to working out of my home and truck?
So, and this is a classic, and I just made mention of me mate Rion from New Zealand, and he looks after Smith & Sons, both North and South Islands. And if we were on an open call, it really comes down to what the company looks like. You'd really have to analyze what the company's done in the last, say, 12 months to really categorize. Maybe you're just a one-man band. Why would you need to go to an office and take on a $15,000, $25,000, $30,000 overhead? It's just there's more to look at than just go, I love having an office. When I was a Smith & Sons general contractor in Australia, I had an office within, it was less than 6 months, right? That was a bad move because I was spending money when I should have been actually building the foundation of the business. Now, again, if you've been in and around the business for 5 years and you're showing a really good bank, and let's say you had 6 months worth of overheads in the bank as cash, then you might say, well, look, to go to an office, the main reason to go to the office is because you really want to be able to employ people and you can't have them coming to your basement, right? So it all depends, and Rion just made mention of what we call a growth pathway. And really, you've got to be systemized, like you said on the comments there on Instagram. You've got to be systemized. You've got to be ready to bring in humans. That would be the main reason. But the natural byproduct benefit is that people go, oh, bricks and mortar, super serious, better than the guy down the road that doesn't have an office. But that's not the primary reason. You've got to be in a position, because what you're talking about is you've built a systemized approach to construction. Your sales process is good. Your marketing message is on point. You've got your business completely systemized, and now you want to, so that's consolidation, and now you want to actually go to more expansion, which means you're going to need more humans because there's only so much you can put on your shoulders. So that's me. What are you laughing at?
All right, Nutsack has a question.
Hey, Nutsack. G'day, mate. Where's Turd Dangler? Seriously. Right, what's Nutsack's question?
In your opinion, do you think the housing market is going to slow down, making renos more feasible?
Here's what I would say. I would say renos are just feasible all the time. I wouldn't go out and say they're recession-proof, right? But like I've explained this before, when new house prices go up, everybody's equity goes up in their established homes. Then they go and spend good money because the new home market jumps. Then when the new home market slides down, people go, well, there's no point in, I've got so much equity built up as well, I'll go and renovate. It's just, there's no, renovations is pretty much where, we sit in renos a lot. And we would recommend, for me, there's more markup, a little bit more risk. Here's the thing. Once you've got systemization, you minimize the risk. And so, why wouldn't you do renos? This is the thing is people don't go into renos because they're fearful of how to estimate and maybe project manage. For me, I would basically go and do renos. And I've had this conversation with guys in my group. They're like, it's easy to build new, but renos are just so much, there's more profit. That's why we do it, if you can systemize. So, yeah. Welcome, KAJ Constructions. I think that's John out of Red Deer. And, mate, I look forward to catching up with you, champ.
It's John.
Yeah, let's go. Next question.
User has a question.
Okay, user and abuser. Let's go.
How much are your Finnish carpenters making?
Depends on how fast they work, doesn't it? Now, was that off TikTok or was that off Insta?
That was off TikTok.
TikTok. Right, Mr. User. It depends. Depends on a shit ton. If I was doing new homes and I had finishing carpenters or fix out carpenters wherever you're from, then mate, I'd be paying them on square foot rate. There's no way I'm paying an hourly rate. So if that's what you're asking, what the square foot rate or the square meter rate for finishing carpenters, I can't remember. Maybe I should hit Reon. Reon, if you got your ears on, mate, can you tell me what? Actually, you might not know either because you're in Renos. You're in the same business. I freaking forgot. I can't help you with that. I don't know what the rates would be, man. So yeah, super disappointed. I can't answer that question for you. Next one. What's up?
Corey Batson has a question.
Thanks for your question, Corey.
Where can I find an apprentice from TikTok? It's from TikTok.
Okay, you know what I would do? This is what I would do. So this is almost a little marketing question, recruitment. What I would do is I would literally go and stand on the job site. I'd have my phone up and go, and I'm telling you, this will go batshit crazy because I've seen what young fellas do. If you want an apprentice, I'd get my phone out and go, here I am working on my building site, putting trusses up by myself because I can't find anyone to help me. If you're 16 to 20 and you're good with your hands and you want to have a crack at getting into the building game, then hit me up. Send me a DM and I'll get you. If you're in this location, this city, and within 20 minutes drive or whatever you want to say, I guarantee you it'll go crazy because I bet you if there's going to be people that know people that go, I got a 16-year-old guy who hates friggin' school. He wants to get out. He'd love an apprenticeship. So that's what I would do. And I would just absolutely punch that out. I would do that every day. You're on a job site on TikTok. I would just go, here I am again. I'm still looking for a guy. And I might go, I've got a guy. See that guy in the background? He's giving it a crack, but there's no guarantees. Then you make him super hungry because he knows you're on the hunt. And you know what? We have on the back of our windows of our trucks now, we've got a decal that says, always hiring, join the team at smithandsons.ca email. So everywhere these trucks are going all around Canada, we're wanting to talk to people that want to get involved in the biz. So, yes, I hope that helped. That was just a weird marketing idea. But
The Forest NI has a statement.
The Forest NI is back again.
Renos are where it's at, buddy. Just got to be well-rounded.
Yeah, look, what I loved, I think when I made the transition away from new homes, which I spent a lot of my time doing, I really did enjoy the learning process, It meant I got to do the demo, I got to do the framing, I liaised with all the different trades and whatnot. And I think in doing that, it helped me get my head around the pricings and the costings. I did start small, slowly, and then we worked up to it. But look, I think that, if I had to dive into construction as a builder again, like Renos, I would absolutely dominate. Totally. It's just really competitive in the new because the big corporates build the new homes. Makes it, unless you're doing very heavy duty custom homes with high-end clients, $1 million plus, which is a tough market to break into. For us guys, I think starting out on Renos, especially if you're in your 20s, doing small bathrooms and, a bit trickier quick kitchens, you want to make sure you're still systemized. I think that's a great way to go. Let's go. What have we got?
Glass M5 has a question.
Thanks for your question, Glass M5.
How are you dealing with the massive price increases on so many trades and materials? On some estimates, it may be 4 months or more before getting to certain points of the bid. Increase could be monstrous by then. Yeah, look, we've got, obviously our quotes basically once we get to proposal, and I don't know if I don't know which podcast it is, but I talk about, our quantity takeoff service, and basically that's essentially what we get paid to put together a final price and final proposal. But that once you present that, it's only good for 7 days because we know how much the prices can fluctuate. And if they dilly-dally and they take a month to figure their shit out, then obviously we reserve the right, and this is built into the terms and conditions, we reserve the right to go and reassess the price. Now,
once you get into construction, because I got one of my guys took 6 months to get a freaking fridge. We're almost abort mission on supplying appliances because it's just, all the white goods suppliers and, the appliance suppliers are just, that's probably actually one of our most demanding angles at the moment. Lumber used to be a bit of a trick, not so much. But, we definitely have built into our contract, there's a force majeure clause. And, my lawyer's given me advice, and there's guys and gals out there that kind of differ on the opinion of that clause. But nonetheless, the thing is too, we always build in contingencies around shit we know is very volatile. Like we could have 20% jumps in 2 weeks on lumber. So the line items within our software, we were actually marking up on top of, our 45% markup. I haven't got John from Melbourne in the room yet, have I? On top of the 45% markup, we might have to put on the lumber line item, another 20%, because that shit would jump in 2 weeks, 20%. So we would do, so when I talk about being an estimating assassin, I'm talking about knowing full well where the volatility is and where I should allow a cushion or a contingency to take into consideration. Because the last thing we want to do is present a proposal to a client and then have to go back and say, no, it's going to cost you an extra, $3,000. It's such a pain in the ass. And I don't want to, it's not witchcraft and sorcery. We're not building into rape and rip off and rape and pillage. But, when we hang our hats on a fixed price, we have to build it that way, because ultimately these clients are looking at, we talk about re-engineering the client experience. And so we want to deliver that white glove, that top shelf, that bougie type experience, and turn them into a raving fan where we can get really good, client testimonials at the end of the day. So, it's super difficult, but you'd want to have your change order process in place, and you'd want to make sure that you've got some really good contingencies. And this is why we do work in progress accounting at the end of the month. So we look at what your level of liability is, because you can have 6 jobs on the go. And if you're picking up 150, 200 grand a month and you don't know what your level of liability is, you don't know how much you owe, you're lost. You're just you're literally flying blind. And so, there's a lot that goes into this simultaneously. This is not, well, Max, if I estimate right, we're good to go. Yes, but no, because there's so much after it where the shit can just hit the fan and you end up in the weeds and life's a bitch. Oh, geez, this game is brutal, right? So this is why I guess we're here talking about it, and I love this. I'm thinking about starting a Facebook fan page or community, or whatever you call that, a closed group or something. So, we'll plug that. We'll do that. Is that what we're going to do, team?
We'll start a fan
I guess
page.
we're going to do it. Yeah. Sweet.
That's a good
I
idea.
know what that looks like, but anyway, right, next question.
Bobby from earlier has a question.
Bobby's back.
What's your best advice for a beginner GC doing estimates on renovations?
Use software. You're out of your mind doing Excel spreadsheets. You will tie yourself up in knots and you'll kill yourself. Don't do it. That's probably what that would be. That would be the go-to, because after that, all your learning curve is about how to manipulate the software and make sure all your building, your head process, and your data entry is all on point. And then, of course, analyzing your profit margins in accordance with your fixed expenses. Because someone with an office has got to charge either more markup or sell more jobs because their expenses are much higher than someone trading out of home. Something to think about. Next question.
Mitchell,
Have we got them racking up?
Mitchell,
okay.
Mitchell has a question.
Let's go. We're 38 minutes in.
Mitchell has a question.
Mitchell, thanks for the question, champion.
Hey, mate. I'm 22 and a qualified builder.
And an Aussie.
What's the next step on going out on my own? From TikTok.
Yeah, look, I think what you've got to do is, I know that when I got in with Smith & Sons as a full-blown franchise general contractor or builder, I was actually still finishing off a frame on labour only for a homeowner. So I think the transition is there, and it really comes down to how you as an individual. So look, this is what, for me, when I got my builder's license, I'm like, sweet as, I'm off to the races, let's go. But really what I didn't have a clue, not a single clue, which is kind of why I bought into a Smith & Sons brand, because I didn't have any idea on how to do financial management really for $1 million plus building company. And I certainly didn't have the systems. And buggered if I was going to sit there and try and design systems, because I didn't know my ass from my elbow as it relates to systems. So how's one supposed to design the systems, right? So I'm just like, oh shit, sell me a business in a box. Let's get on with this. So, I think you've got to take your time when you're making that transition, and you've got to have your ears up and your tail up. You've got to be asking questions. You've got to be a very big student of business systems. So I wouldn't focus on, if you've been in the game a little while and you know construction, that's great. What you need to focus on now is financial analytics and business development processes, HR, and all of that is underpinned by patience. We overestimate what we can do in 12 months. We underestimate what we can do in 10 years. And I am telling you, 10 years goes like that because I'm 49 and I'm freaking old and washed up. And I'm still acting like a child. So it is just a number. But I'm telling you, it's like, whoa, time flies. So be patient. What's up next?
Ceneric has a question.
So who?
Ceneric?
Ceneric.
I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right.
Right, is that, we don't know if that's Insta or
TikTok. Have you ever just made land build ready and sell it from there instead of actually buying it? Sorry, let me restart that. Wow.
Go again.
Have you ever just made land build ready and sell it from there instead of actually building?
So he's trying to sell off the plan. Yeah. It's just, clients are gonna feel that. And I'm telling you as a builder, see, what'll happen is you'll get, let's say you do a deal up front, which is like awesome. But then what you've got is you've got this client. So the great thing about doing spec homes is that you get the freedom to just go and build shit the way you want to build it. As long as you know your shit, you can actually go and build the thing without having a client doing this all the time. Once you sell it off the plan, then you're back in, you're really under the pump. So you'd want to have the systems in place so that you can actually build in accordance with the way you want to build. If they want to change something, there's got to be change order policy. Like it's all that sort of stuff. So selling off the plan, if I've got that right, I apologize if I haven't understood correctly. But if you're trying to sell off the plan, there's an advantage because it does cash you up in front. But the clients aren't going to really, they're going to finance that. So the finance institution is obviously not going to go and dump, the land and the house, which might be, $800,000 or whatever the case might be. They're not just going to go and cut you a check and you can run off and start building. There's going to be, progress payments clauses and drawdowns and things like that. So, I don't know. It's just, it really comes down to, what you want to wrestle with, because what I'm saying is, after 33, almost 34 years in the game, nothing is easy. Everything's a head screw. And, sometimes it's not, blue skies and lollipops. So put your helmet on and your mouthpiece in and get after it and just be hungry to learn and always learn from the micro failures. If you macro fail, you're going to be out of the game. But if you micro fail, you can learn from that shit and you can move ahead with it. So hope that helps. Next question.
Alexis from TikTok.
G'day, Alexis from TikTok. Jacob Posma's just joined the room in Instagram. Yeah, buddy.
He or she, I'm not quite sure.
Right.
Currently 19 years old and got my contractor license. Any tips with stuff you can give me tips on?
Yeah, look, at that age, you've got so much to learn. And, I just think what you've got to do is you just need to be... Okay, so here's what I would say. What you're saying is, hey, give me tips, Max, so I can master the art of, let's say, being a subcontractor. And that's fair. So whether you're trying to master the art of being a really great apprentice, or you're trying to master the art of being a great subcontractor, or you're trying to master the art of being a builder or general contractor, you're going to need two things. You're going to need a good relationship with pain and understand it's part of the deal, and you're going to have a massive desire to learn. And when you're 19... I look back from 19 to 49, we're talking 30 years, and I'm sitting here yapping to you, and I'm just like, you've got lots of time, so don't be in a hurry, but be diligent, be a good student of the business. And like I always say, you want to focus on construction because at 19, I hadn't even finished my apprenticeship. I hadn't got my credentials, as a carpenter even at age 19, although I was subcontracting illegally. Thanks to Phil. Good on you, Phil. And making good money for a 19-year-old, just by the way. But, it's like I think there's, this is why I'm doing this because, I do love the idea of leaving a solid legacy that I can help a bunch of 18 or 16 to 25-year-old who just got started. And I started listening to Max in, 2022. And now it's 2032, and I made the difference that he made in my professional building career was massive. That's the sort of thing that I really tie into, and that's why we do this. So, I think just be patient, but like I said, have a really great. Who's that? Kaylin Hamilton just wanted to pop in and say g'day, mate. Kaylin, Have a good day. Sounds like it's a Saturday morning there in Oz. But yeah, just be patient. You've got so much time, but you've got to be diligent because life will pass you by if you get complacent. So, yeah, hope that helps. Are we close? No?
No. Icon Design asked...
Another beer.
From IG asked, good quality and reasonably priced drywallers, do they exist in Calgary? Where to find them?
I don't know. I guess he's coming from Calgary. Calgary. We're in BC, man. We're in the Okanagan Valley over here. I think I come to this town 7 years ago, didn't start working straight away because I wasn't quite legal. But while I was kicking around, I did a lot of drinking beer because I had my wife's cousin was a builder. And I just started, pressing the flesh, talking to people. I was very confident in the construction game because by then I'd been in it 25 years. So it was really just, I just moved locations, not a big deal. But again, what I would say is that you do have to go through the process. You move a lot of dirt to find the gold. And so you've got to find the right subcontract. If you're looking for drywallers, you really got to get to know the human that's driving the business. And you've really got to, it's like putting a rock and roll band together. The chemistry's got to be good. If the chemistry's not good, the bass player gets fired. So, I think it's just a process. And so building a network of subcontractors is work. Just because they've got I'm a drywaller, on the side of his van, doesn't mean that he's professional in his attitude, doesn't mean he's organised in his invoicing, doesn't mean that he's on time when he tells you what time he's going to be there. Like there's all these kinds of things. And you really have to stay. It takes probably 12 months to go, I am like the electrician I've got in this town. I can ring Andy right now and I can absolutely rely on him 100%. Now, it took me, actually, I got pretty lucky because I think Andy was probably only the second electrician that I rang. So, and that was through referral, right? So I don't think there's any perfect way. In Calgary, dude, like you got way more of a talent pool there than I do here. This is a town of 40,000. I don't know what Calgary's got in it, but it's going to be more than what I've got here. So, I think it's your approach. I think it's your ability to be a good recruiter and the way that you go about. And don't be tight. You might as well offer them, the good rates because with good rates, you expect good service. When you don't get good service, we're done. I'll get somebody else, right? Makes it real easy to do it because you hold the leverage, right? So, there's no magic to this shit. You've just got to go and, skin the knees a few times and give it a go. Next question.
The Forest and I has a statement. New guy need to know the difference between owning a reno company that subs out each trade and a reno company that does the work themselves and how to price that way.
So was that a question from...
Statement.
That was a statement from Mr. Forrest and I?
He's
putting out some love.
He's giving some advice.
Oh, giving some advice to new guy.
Yeah.
That's his new guy's his handle?
They need to know the difference between pricing.
Right. So there's a piece of advice for you, new guy. You just got to be able to figure out the pricing between.
I like it.
Great. I wish I had Forrest and I on my team. He could help me build a massive multinational company. Righto, next question. Let's go.
Grisales.
Oh, yeah.
Grisales has a question. What's the roadmap to becoming a builder in Canada?
Okay, so I'm going to assume that you're in the game and you're sort of going, I want to be a general contractor and I've got to get a builder's license. Now, if we understand correctly, let's say you're a carpenter and you're already running a general contract and you're doing mostly renos and you want to go and build new homes. Is that what, I don't know if that's what he's talking about, to become a builder. And he might actually be asking from abroad and wants to move to Canada because there's a shit ton of Aussies in our backyard here and it's great to catch up with him for a beer, just saying. So, look, it's the same. Okay, so if you want to get a builder's license, if he had said what's the roadmap to becoming or to getting a builder's license in Canada, I'd say you've got to do 7 courses with BC Housing, and I can only speak for BC because that's where we are. 7 courses, cost you about $800 a course, give or take. We're a member of Canadian Home Builders, so if you're with Smithies, you might get a discount. And you got to do those courses probably over a period of 2 years. And then you've got to cough up into a bond or a trust fund or something about 10 or 15 grand. And then you can go and operate, as once you've got the credential and you've been assessed, and then you've got to get an insurer and then you've got to put 10 or 15 grand away. And I think you get that 10 or 15 grand back if you're in good standing. I think 5 years after you've done your last home, but I probably will stand corrected on that. So, look, that's I've interpreted that question a way. So yeah, giddy up. Another statement there.
Wille? That sounds okay. He's just giving us some love. Super helpful for a young bloke trying to find his feet.
Sweet as. I appreciate the love, man.
He says, absolutely killing it, mate. Love the podcast and can honestly say the stuff you're putting out is super helpful. And yeah, I read it backwards.
Did ya?
Yeah.
No, look, and you know, I really what it comes down to, it's like I sit here and do Q&A, and like I say, I hold on to my pen because it's my little security blanket, but it's just, you know, I've been bludgeoned to death by the building industry, and not that it's going to be any easier for you, but or anybody else for that matter, but you know, what we can do is maybe just give you a few little insights that you won't have to bleed so much and you won't have to lose so much money. So Wille _O, I appreciate the love, man. And so yeah, stay close and we'll just keep on jamming, and we might even get this closed group together and see if we can't really build a bit of a business for builders community. So
yeah, the fan page on
the fan page,
Facebook. We should definitely look into that.
Yeah.
We'll look into that.
So look, if that's what's going to help us, I just know that's going to be busy as shit. So okay, next question. Where are we from?
Jacob Postma.
Hey, Jake. Right, what's the go?
What's a rough high and low that I should be bidding for these commercial drywall jobs? Mud and tape finish grade as well.
See, the thing is, and I actually have had a phone conversation with Jacob, right? So, you know, he'll give me a little bit more creative license to beat him up a little bit more, I hope. But, you know, like it's so difficult. If you go in and do a little shop fit job for a little kind of, you know, over-the-counter like takeaway or something, a commercial drywall in that is just, it's all about quoting, right? So whereas if you're going to do a shit ton of more like board square feet, then obviously, you know, if you've just got 4 perimeter walls that are 20 foot high and you've got so much easy installation, it's just a matter of getting it up there. You've got no partitions, no doorways, not a lot of windows and shit like that. Then, you know, I think the mud and tape could be pretty easy as well compared to maybe a small shop fit. So what you'll do, the answer to your question, Jacob, is time and bidding on jobs and maybe even doing jobs where you kind of do your ass a little bit. But the thing is, what you're getting is an education, because you get I cocked up there because I didn't make any money out of that. So you got a question?
No, he's asking for the high and low, like what prices.
Dude. There's not one. So that's what I'm literally go back to what I was just banging on about. You figure out your own high and lows, right? And that's going to come from time. But the thing is, what you're trying to straddle is the fact that you don't have the data. Now you've got to stick your neck out and you've got to have your head in gear to go, I don't have data. Max can't give me data. See, if I was you, Jacob, this is what I'd do. I would sit out. Now, it helps that my in-laws are drywallers and I've done a bunch of boarding, mudding and taping. So I understand the mechanics, right? So I understand the time. So I can look at my office and I can go, right, that's going to be how many board feet roughly, do a quick measure up. And I go, it's 10-foot ceilings. There's 2 horizontal joints. We're using 10-foot sheets. So there's butt joints every 10 feet. So each room's going to have 8 butt joints. That's about a week to do the mud and tape. See what I'm doing? I'm creating my own data. Coming on these shows, I really can't give you, I could get it, but because I don't have context, I can't give it to you with any level of confidence. I can tell you, see what I'm trying to do to everybody in the room right now. I'm trying to teach you how to fish, because what Jacob's just asked me to do is, mate, give me a fish. And I know he means well, and he's trying to understand what it is a high and a low, right? But in this day and age, even what I might have known 2 years ago because of what we've just been through in this bloody industry, completely unreliable. I would more now than ever, as a general contractor, if I was in the field, I've always got my ears up about pricing. I'll mosey in down to Home Hardware and I'll talk to Keith Williams. Hey, what are you hearing from the other GCs? What are they talking about? That's what I do. It's easy for me to steer with my eyes and my ears, but questions are the answers. So Jacob, go and just shoot the shit. If you see a drywaller at the hardware store or something, just go and give them a nudge and go, man, how's business doing? You got a few guys going on. I might even be looking for a drywaller. Like, just, dude, start building a network. See, me talking right now is what I was good at in the building game. You think I just sort of woke up one day and said, I'm going to start talking to a phone? No, I've been talking like this as a business operative for 25, 30 freaking years. So this is where you'll get, and you know what, Jacob, you'll get reliable data, way more reliable than what I can just shoot the shit with you. So just shooting it out there. No board, mud and tape. Same thing, dude. I'm just like, I got to go and get the data. So you go and find a drywall. Now, I know you're in Ontario, and if I knew what postcode you're in, dude, I would go and Google that shit, and I'd go drywall, mud and tape in the 4 suburbs around where you're operating, and I would bring all those guys, and I would take them out for a beer, or I'd catch up with them, or I'd do. You need the data, so go find it. They will tell you. You know why? Because they're looking for good general contractors to work for. It's a win-win if you can find the right guy. And if you're talking to him and he sounds like a friggin' knob, just move on. Go find someone else. But you got to go doing the digging, man. You really got to go and work as hard in the development of your network of your trades as what you do in building. And then, of course, don't even get me started about sales, because that's all hard work as well. So it's all blood, sweat, and tears. And but again, stay close, man. But that's the way I would go and find rates on mud and tape, because that shit's going to change as well.
Duckaz or Dukaz? I'm not sure.
So duck ass.
Yeah, we can go with that. I like it.
So we got duck ass, we got turd dangler, and we got nutsack. Yeah.
Like sorry.
Boy, these guys are creative.
What should a second-year apprentice be paid in New Zealand with full tools set up? I've been in the trade for 3 years.
Yeah, look, I would say, and I can't speak to this completely categorically and accurately, but if you're an apprentice, there will be an award rate. So if I was you, I would go in there into Google, because you're a Kiwi and you're in Kiwi land, and you'd go, what is the second year or third year rate for, an apprentice in my area? That's what I would do. There's bound to be like not a labour relations, but there's going to be an employment board. There's going to be an employment act. And that will set the rate. Now, if your boss is paying you more than that, he's a good guy. But honestly, you should be able to find what I would say is your minimum hourly rate for an apprentice in your location without, you shouldn't need to Google hard to find that shit. What else we got?
The Forest and I is back.
Can we call him the F and I?
F and I?
F and I. G'day, F and I. We'll just shorten your shit.
I'll probably forget that.
The F and I.
Are you familiar with package built homes? He has in brackets panels.ca. Everything is pre-built on a massive scale, and do you have an opinion on it?
Yeah, look, I'm into. I'll tell you what I'm into is into making money. So the thing is, really, what happens? I think what Smith & Sons is doing is creating systems, because everyone freaks like on Renos, they're like, whoa, I can't do a fixed price. What we do is we systemize, and then all of a sudden people buy into it because we've spent time systemizing. So any modular or prefab, or not prefab, but pre-constructed packs where you can roll out a pile of shit to a building site and literally just button it together like a kind of a prefab. It just comes down to, really, do the clients, is there a market for it? I did in between 2000 and 2010, I worked on steel frames, for crying out loud. Started that actually in the late 90s, and so that was a whole new thing as well. But we had to systemize around, how do we do second fix and all that sort of stuff as well. So yeah, I think there's opportunity, but look, if you can make money out of it, and clients, especially in rural areas that you're not around a talent pool like a major center, and they're 4 hours out of town, it's easy for someone like me to grab my trailer and go out there and camp or whatever on site for 5 days and build shit and then come back home for the weekend. So, there's definitely some upside to that. And I'm just terribly optimistic too. So, again, need more detail. If I was going to look into it, I'd want to see the whole package, and I want to see everything as it opens and shuts and how it swings. And then I want to consider it from a contractor standpoint, consider it from a client standpoint, and just see where the ducks line up. Like for me, franchising in this country, in Canada, it was a no-brainer. But when I talk to like a lot of people in this town, they're like, nah, we ain't doing that shit. That's never going to work. Here we are, going good. So, you got to really dig down. But that's my 2 bobs worth. Next. Hope that helps. What would I say? The F and I?
See, I knew he'd forget.
The F and I got it.
Jesse from TikTok.
Thanks.
How much do you spend on marketing?
Oh, I should get my financial admin.
She's watching.
Oh, of course she is. Don't comment. I would guess because I'm running with 8 general contractors right now who are in operation in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cities, we're probably spending $70,000 a year. Now, I don't know. I don't know whether that's close. I definitely know that we spend about $1,200 a week on Facebook. Gosh, and I would, we're easy spending $5,000 on Google Ads between that. So that's so 50 to 70 is what I'm spending right now, and it seems to be working. Millions of dollars worth of inquiry for my guys to then go and qualify super hard. So hopefully that answers that question. Next,
the F&I.
F&I's back, but he can't help himself.
Yeah, is it 10,000 pluses being put up in Niagara area.
Right.
I don't know if you meant trusses or pluses.
I think that might be those buildings he's talking about.
Pluses, that's what they're called.
10,000. And I mean, there is no question that there is a shortage of accommodation. No question. That's why they're in this town alone. Whenever you go and split whenever you go and demolish a single detached dwelling, it's odds on is you're going to get 3 townhouses, like a triplex on there, because there's such a demand for housing that the high density thing is kicking in for real. So having these modular type homes, for want of a better term, there's no question that represents good value if you can get people in. It's very affordable. The cost of living is going up, so affordable housing is definitely on the radars of every municipality and local and federal government. So no, that doesn't surprise me at all. As long as they can get the land and they can develop it, and doesn't end up in a friggin' like a slum ridge type shitty environment, and then it goes against everything socially. So let's not go and build the projects in Niagara.
Bobby has a 2-part question here. What made you choose construction? I'll let you answer that part first.
Mate, I didn't choose construction. Construction chose me. The old man dragged my ass out of school because he was paying for private education, and he thought I was a bit handy because our family's kind of a bit like that. Threw me into tech college for about 3 months, and then I got an offer for an apprenticeship. So, when I went to tech college, I liked it. And then when I could do that and get paid, it was a no-brainer. I'm like, I'm out of here. Let's go. And the rest is history. So I didn't go looking for it. It found me.
Second part is best advice for someone who is just dipping his feet in the ownership side of construction.
When I finished my apprenticeship, I effectively owned my own business. So from an ownership standpoint, everything's your fault. But you're making all the money. So I'm not sure if I've understood that question, but starting out, like I said, think big, start small, systemize the shit out of everything. That's really what it comes down to. And then just the more you learn, the more you earn. So, I keep banging on about the same stuff all the time because there's no hack. It's just work. I'm 49. I can't believe it. I've got 2 kids at drinking age. It's like, where the hell did that come from? It just, time goes by so quick, but I've enjoyed, all the time. It's just, and life's still good. So, yeah, I don't know when you say dipping your feet in the ownership. What I would say is burn the boats. And I don't know if you've heard that statement, Bobby, but for me, when I came to this country, people would say, so have you still got real estate at home? Do you still have business interests? Do you have anything? Nope, sold, closed down, whatever. I'm out of there. So when I came here, there was no plan B. So I would urge you to try and maybe dip your feet for a little bit, but at some point you've got to go. And I'm telling you, business owners succeed because they spend their life outside of their comfort zone. And what that means is, it's never ever, you can't steal second base with your foot still on first base. You've got to go. And so, I talked about that in one of my last podcasts. You got to go. And so, if you're just dipping your toe in that, the ownership side, it's a hell of a risk. I'll say that. That's what it comes down to. But again, systemize the shit out of everything. The more you learn, the more you earn. Making sure that you're always across the financial aspect of the business. You're giving yourself a good chance because there's a shit ton of guys that go out of business in the construction business. Every 5 years, it's freaking scary. The numbers are off the 70%. It's ridiculous. So I hope that helps, man. I hope that doesn't scare you. Give it a crack. But just keep your eye on, just watch your back. Be smart.
Jesse's back with another.
Is this Jesse English?
Yeah.
Righto. Jesse, what do we got for this time?
What would you suggest custom builders spend on marketing?
Look, I would ask you what revenue you wanted to generate. And you said, Max, I want to be $1 million. That's what I want to do. What I would say is you want to spend between, 3 to 5% of your target. So you do the math, Jesse. You figure out, when you get home or, when you're dicking around on a spreadsheet, right, this is what I want to do. And I would say it's, I'd say around the 3% of your projected revenue or sales. That's what you should be allocating for marketing. What's next?
Bayes Group from IG.
Right.
What was your first steps you took to begin systemizing? What aspect of the business do you systemize first?
Okay. So the first steps, so me being involved with Smith & Sons for over 10 years, Smith & Sons was created off the back of a new home builder, which was heavily systemized. That building company does about $1.9 billion in sales, and they have franchise general contractors in 3 countries. So a lot of it was suitable for the new home. Renos, I had my buddy in here from New Zealand, and he'll tell you that in the Reno side of things, even though they had created this brand, there was a lot of systemizing to do. And even when I took the reins here, I still had a lot of systemizing to do that I wanted to develop, because, again, it was in a different country as well. So we had to make it, we had to Canadianize it. That was what we talked about a lot. But I think like you're on the right track, because going, I'm going to systemize everything, it's a joke. You're never going to do it. You're going to kill yourself first. I think a good place to start, I would assume, is that you've got construction already systemized to a certain extent. I think we can all do better there in the delivery. And it depends on what stuff. If you're running it, like I'm doing it all, I'm doing the project management, then you're going to have everything up in here. It's only when you get a superintendent where you want to have the procedures, like standard operating procedures. Where's the accountability? Like, how is it that you're making sure that he or her is doing their job? So that's an aspect. It's really hard for me to go, oh, you should do this one first. What I might say is I would definitely, because sales cures everything, and I know that's a bit of a blasé term, but if we systemize the shit out of how we build, and we buy all the tools and vans and decals and blah blah blah, but we haven't really systemized our sales process, then all of that is a complete waste of time and money. So I think what I often say is, do your customers buy in accordance with their buying process, or do they buy in accordance with your selling process? Which means you should have a selling process that's set up so that you know what you're doing and how you're leading. So the idea is that I become the authority when I'm dealing with a client, and I hold the hand of that client and I lead them through my process. And so this is where, when I've got a 700-page manual operations file for my general contractors, and we do push through it in 4 days, so you can imagine the download of shit that they've got to try and learn, which is why we have initial and ongoing, because when they hit the field, they start to get a feel, because now they're actually executing, and we're playing with real money right now. Whereas in training, it's just like they're listening to me, yabber on, and we're looking at, PowerPoints and diagrams and, doing a few case studies and things like that. So I would say, sales, you need to understand Bayes Group. You're going to need to understand what your marketing side of things is, because, again, you can't sell shit if you haven't got your phone ringing. And so we probably get, I don't know what the number is, 60 to 80 inquiries a month. I can't remember what the number is. Earlier this year, we're getting 120 inquiries a month, millions and millions of dollars worth of inquiry. You need to understand, you need to have a black belt kind of ninja understanding of marketing and how to do that, and what you're going to spend on marketing to be able to get good inquiry. So see how it works. You've got to understand your marketing message and how you're going to systemize sales. You've got to have a systemized approach to sales. How do you demonstrate value so you can get paid to quote? And some people might just go stab me in the eye, I never get paid to quote. How do you do that? Well, there's an episode on the podcast, which is episode 85. No? Yeah, episode 74 on the podcast. I talk about our sales secrets process. So that's going to be a big one that'll help you. And then, of course, your construction. So that's where I'd start to think. What I would say is think about everything, but do double down on designing one thing at a time. And, of course, when our GCs, they're like, a lot of GCs get to a point and go, there's no way I'm going to design a system, bro. You've got a business in a box. Here's your money, right? You do the marketing. You get me leads. I've only got to do some local area marketing, shaking hands and, sponsoring hockey teams or whatever. And so we collaborate around that. And then off to the races. They're running around with the Smith & Sons brand all deckled up. Like, we do get them up to speed fairly quickly. So, that's something. There's your options. You do it all yourself and you own it and it's your baby, or you join forces with a brand that's got 30-something years experience. This Smith & Sons brand alone is over $100 million a year. The Big Brother brand does $1.9 billion. What sort of data do you think we're messing with right now? Like, it's pretty crazy. So, host is dude, I got an invite here, dude. I don't know. The host, anyway, it's gone. Bye-bye. Next question. Let's go. Welcome, Nicholson's Carpentry on IG. Good to have you in the room.
You gave us a follow from this live. Like, he found our live and then gave us a follow.
Oh, sweet as, man. Appreciate that. All right. What's the next question?
Jesse again.
Jesse's killing it.
What deal do you give your sales team? Example, percentages or full-time or both?
Okay, depends on what we're selling. I know that I've had my guys that have actually had 2 project consultants, and they were just on strict, wages or hourly rate or salary. I'm not sure if he gave them some bonus incentives. I know that I've got bonus incentives in my office, which are very small, but it's just really just a little bit of a thank you. But for sales, you can incentivize it if you're doing new homes, because the commission's pretty substantial. It's all about percentages. If you're selling new homes, it might be, a 2%, 3%. There's always sliding scales as well. I think if you jumped on, here's what I do. If you jumped on YouTube and you want to say, how do I incentivize or how do I pay salespeople in construction? What you'll do is you'll get a shit ton of info. And what I tend to look at, decent operators that have got a good reputation maybe on YouTube. And then what you do is you just get flooded with a whole bunch of options, and then things will start to resonate with you. You'll start to pick the eyes out of it and go, okay, this is feeling good. And put yourself in your own salesperson's shoes and go, what would I want? Salespeople can't live off bottle tops, and off, they've got to have some decent cash. So there's always a retainer. And then on top of that, there might be a commission percentage as well. There might be like this hybrid. So again, yeah, just do a lot of due diligence on, the options you might have in and around having a salesperson. But sales is good. It's almost like the piece de resistance. It's the final frontier, because if you've got someone selling for you and you've got a superintendent, all of a sudden you're getting into that business ownership. You might start, doing the $2 million, $3 million a year, more risk. So watch your numbers, because the guys that have got the biggest overheads, they fall over first, right? So just watch your back and systemize the shit out of it. Righto.
Bobby is back.
Bobby's on
TikTok.
Righto, Bobby. Let's go. What's next?
What do you look for in employees or subcontractors?
What I look for is people that are positive, solution oriented, team players, people that understand how maybe difficult it is to be, in my position, and I reciprocate that as well. We want to really work together as a team. So. You need solution. I don't need someone who's just banging on about how life's. Anyone that talks to me about politics makes me throw up in my mouth. I've only got so much energy, and I'm just like, dude, let's focus on the solution. Let's take stock of where there might have been a cock up, but let's really get about, creating the solution to remedy with the situation that we're in, and then look at how we avoid that going forward. And I really want it's synergy, right? Like I just explained, I've got to make a phone call after this. After we get done here and we've drank some beer, and fire my bass player because he just doesn't fit, and it's just unfortunate. So, it's just part of the game, I hope that helps. What do we got?
Andy from TikTok has a paragraph. Give me a second.
Has a paragraph.
Yeah. As a small business roofing company looking to do commercial work, do you recommend I go to the big commercial builders to introduce myself to begin bidding commercial roof builds? Basically, how do I get my foot in the door? Right.
So, I think you're on track. You're on a good track. What I would do is do exactly what you said and go, what I want to do is I want to quote on the smaller commercial jobs, because what they're going to want to do is get to know how you are as an operator. So I think you've got it, you've got your head on straight. You're on the right track. And all I do is just add a bit of value to that, just tweak that a little bit and go, I actually want to bid, but I don't want to bid on the big jobs yet. So you're showing a level of humility. And what you want to say is, look, any of the smaller jobs I'd love a crack at if I could. And then you've got lower overheads. So you actually should be able to get amongst some of those smaller jobs and really, and then what you want to do is when you win those jobs, you really want to aim to please. And so don't ever try and knock it out of the park on the first hit. But you want to be smart, be humble, have an attitude to serve these, bigger corporates. And they're monsters to deal with. So you'd really want to have your poop in a group, man. But you're on the right track. Go and introduce yourself. And I would go that angle. Go for the smaller jobs. What do we got?
Bays Group from Instagram.
Rattle. Let's go, Bays Group.
Is it easier to systemize subcontractors or employees? Is it a good Is it good to build a business of mostly subcontractors, or is it even better if I'm able to make most of my trades my employees?
If you're doing new homes, mostly Bays Group, you can definitely build it around subs for sure. You can systemize your office and you make them comply with your systems. And, you know, for me, even when I think back as a subcontract carpenter, I was working for a building company that would do like 1,000 homes a year. And, you know, they would say, well, we're going to give you, Mozzie 888 is back. What they would say to you is you don't get paid unless you give us an a purchase order number on the invoice. Now, that was fine. And I complied with that for a long time and continued to comply with that. But what I did was I would have a superintendent would ring me and go, Max, I need you to go out there and just bang in, you know, a few studs because that doorway's got to be moved. You know what I'd say? You got to get me a purchase order before I even fire my truck up. I ain't moving. And he's like, So next thing you know, email, PDF, purchase order, and I'm off to the races. So it's super easy to systemize subs. Now, I would say it's equally easy to systemize. And like I said, Bays Group, this is around what sort of type of work you do. But if you're doing renos and you've got a couple of good guys or gals, I would say it's equally easy to systemize your own in-house labor. Matter of fact, one of the TikToks I did this week, one of the tips for GCs was get a daily site log. Now, we use Google Forms for that, right? And it asks a whole bunch of questions, maybe 10 questions. You know, what'd you get done? How many hours? How many overtime hours did you do? How many deliveries were made? Did you have to go and pick up materials? How much time did you spend picking up materials? And really getting them, and you know what, if they went to 2 jobs, that daily site log would get filled out before they left the first job. And then when they arrive at the next job, they would then fill out it again. And I've got to account for that 8 hours a day. So those are the kinds of systems, you know, when you're talking about employees, I don't find any of those easier or harder. I don't find them easier or harder to manage because I have systems, and systems gives me leverage, and leverage gives me lifestyle. Okay? We build businesses and we underpin those businesses with systems. And then we have good human beings because we're really good talent scouts and we know to hire quickly and fire quickly and have kind candor. And then we can actually put good people in positions that run good systems that run our business. All of a sudden now we've got leverage, which means we get lifestyle. So I don't find either or. Now, where you might find a challenge if half your business is new homes and half your business is renos, this is why I say that we kind of want to double down on one or the other. We want to find our niche. So that might give you something else to think about, Bays Group. Hope that helps. What up next?
I don't know how to pronounce.
Are we just about done?
We have 2 more questions.
2 more questions. All right. So think about this. We're about to cut this off. So if you've got questions, don't hesitate. Let's get into it.
Giago. I'm so sorry.
You know,
I am so sorry.
We're going to call him Jago. That's what we're going to call him or her. Go.
What's the best way to promote your product?
Well, it depends on what your product is, and it depends on what your target market is, and depends how much marketing money you've got. But let's say you're bare bones and you're just getting started, dude. You can't beat doing... Now, you can't be reckless. I talk to my franchise operators about this. You can't go and have, you know, an open profile on Facebook and you hit the piss on Friday night and you got all these really wild and crazy videos, and then clients, you know what clients do when you go out there and meet them for a first initial visit and you're all done up and you're all like, I'm professional, and they go and Google you or they go on Facebook and troll the shit out of you and they find you pissing it up on the weekend and you're a frigging clown. You're not helping yourself, right? So that's actually counterintuitive marketing. But I definitely think that you can do a lot of education around how you do Facebook marketing, how you do marketing on Instagram, you know, how you do pre-rolls on YouTube, how you work with Google AdWords to do stuff in your local area. And so what I would say is, look at it all. And we call Jay. Let's go, Jay. I would go and investigate how you market a building company across the board, and then start to educate yourself around Facebook and Insta and pre-rolls on YouTube and Google AdWords and all those things. And then it really comes down to how much can you afford, and then, you know, how much, because you got to be careful you don't outmarket yourself. If you're really good at it, you might get so many inquiries. You're like, dude, I don't get time to even do quotes because I'm too busy doing 20 meetings a week, right? So what you're doing then is you're outmarketing yourself. So understand the terminology, you know, and understand the concept around outmarketing yourself. So I would say at this early point, and you're asking me that question for a reason, you want to educate yourself around all the dynamics within the marketing area. And if you've only been in it 5 minutes, you've got shit tons to learn. I would invest 30 hours. Yes, Mozzie, you did miss the guitar jam session. That was last week, and I didn't bring it in this week. I'm sorry, dude. I'll bring an acoustic next week, and we'll have another crack at it. But I would say spend 30 hours to actually work on educating yourself around you and your business, and then, because you're the core, and then how does marketing and the type of client. So for us, we target 50 to 75-year-old, and there's a reason we do that, because we know that they value quality over price. It's not that they're stupid. They don't want to spend any more money than they want, but they just know the old concept, you get what you pay for. So there's a lot of education around that. I hope that helps. Jay, and he's just given us a follow too by the looks of it. Cool. Big love. Thanks for you doing that, man. I hope we can continue to work together on this. Next question.
This is the final question, so if you want to ask if anyone has any final
questions. We've got one left to go. We've been at this for an hour and 20. Please don't wait till I'm about to sign off and they go, wait a minute. Hit me up now before we go. We're going to shut this down in 5 minutes. Yeah. But it looks like now Dragon on Instagram has just asked where we're based. Right now we're in the Okanagan Valley, about 4.5 hours northeast of Vancouver, man. So we're in British Columbia. So, but the Smith & Sons brand is national, international. We've got that in Australia and New Zealand as well. And I'm just waiting for the right time to go to the States. So, so get your questions in and go for it. This is the last question until further notice. You're welcome, Dragon. You're welcome, man. Have a great weekend.
Brescio. I have a hard time visualizing further ahead, and it keeps me from going out on my own that much.
Yeah, so I would assume that you're working for somebody. You know what? I understand the fear factor is massive, and I'm not going to say, well, just face your fear and do that shit anyway, because you're like, you got to sleep with you, so it's super challenging. I get it. What I would do is, again, here's what I would say: dream big, start small, systemize the shit out of everything. So, what I would, in line with that, I would say, go and see if you can get a small job. Maybe someone, a friend of yours, wants to do a fence. Just cut your teeth on the process, right? Just start doing some smaller things that sort of help you develop your muscles. So it's like, if you want to be a, professional bodybuilder, you don't go in there and start, benching 250 pounds or 150 kilos or whatever. You've got to work up to it. There's so much to learn about that skill set. So I'd say the same is, and you know what, if you're just starting, it's great to start small. There's a lot of, attitudes towards business and client servicing or services, understanding business development processes. I think, speed is just, bullshit. Don't even get carried away with that, because what happens, you can grow too fast, too quick, too top heavy, fall over, go bankrupt, start over. Like, just, breathe. Woosa, bad boys, that shit. Just take your time. If you're young, you've got plenty of time. What I would do is, the more you learn, the more you earn. Your attitude determines your altitude. So if you've got a good attitude towards learning, like I said at the start, you're talking about wanting to master this whole general contracting thing, right? So you've got to develop a really good relationship with pain, and you've got to have a hunger to learn. Those two things is two pieces of advice if you want to master the art of general contracting. Let's go.
Nikki from TikTok. When's the best time to start advertising a new business?
Before you open the doors. See, what we do here, right? I was just talking to a guy out of Saskatoon, and he's coming on board by the looks, and, if everything goes well, we should be good to go. But, I told him, I said, we need 4 weeks to really, by the time he comes in for training, we flick the switch. As soon as we've signed the deal while the ink is still wet, we already have stuff staged, and then we just roll it out. Now, he's in a new area as well, right? So it's going to be in line with what you're going after. But it's really, like, for us, it's a nervous moment, because we're going, right, we've got to go through branding campaigns, traffic campaigns, and then we launch into lead gen or call to action campaigns. And that's a 4-week process. We cannot rush that. If we're a new brand in a new area like we're going to be, no different for you. You've got to be patient, but you've also got to be very strategic in your approach. And we're always, there's shit that's worked in certain areas, and then we're like, why did this not work in the new area? The difference between Nanaimo and Victoria on the island, on Vancouver Island, is like an hour and 45 minute drive or 2 hour drive, whatever. But the behavior from the marketplace in Victoria is distinctly different from the behavior in Nanaimo. And we have got no answers for why our lead gen dominates in Nanaimo and is just frigging crickets in Victoria. And we spend bucket loads of cash trying to figure that out. So you need to understand the reality, and that it is that we do spend a lot of money experimenting. I'm sorry. And then we look at things like what is the content that we're doing? And then we try something new in a different area and we don't think that should work. And then dead set, a still shot of a before and after will work better than a 3-minute video of, a walkthrough, a pre-construction and then during construction and then a post-construction, which we think is beautiful, but the market doesn't respond to that in Victoria. Go figure. It blows our minds. So we just remain open-minded and we just try. So the variable of success, I think, is in your ability to detach yourself away from ego to what you think the market wants and listen to the market. Be ready to make the move, right? So, that's a really long-winded question on a very basic, a long-winded answer for a very short question. But I hope that gives you some context.
Mozzie 888 said, I'm going to send a 6-pack of VBs to your office for you and your team.
Right. And the address is on TikTok, bro. Dude, I kid you. Hey?
Do we have our address on TikTok?
No, sorry. Where did I see it? Where is it?
It's on our website.
Oh, dude.
Our P.O. box?
No.
We should put our P.O. box
Or is it on
there.
Insta? I don't know if it's on Insta.
We should definitely put our P.O. box.
DM us Mozzie. He's going to send me a 6-pack of VB. And look, I'm a Queenslander Mozzie. So, we always used to drink 4X Gold. I know that's going to rattle his cage, but I've got a bunch of friends in Sydney and even down into Melbourne who would get a kick out of me cracking a VB on the show. So, mate, if you want to go and invest that, big love. That would be awesome.
So Sam just popped
Sam's in.
Sam I am. Dude, so good to see your name on the screen. Should give him a wave. Now, Sam is a freaking ninja in the background. I'm telling you, I would like Sam to come back and work for us because he is still a big part of what we do. He's a computer scientist and he does handle Google and a lot of what we deal with Facebook behind the scenes. An absolute ninja. So good to have you on the show, Sam. Would rather have you in the office working with us, but that's okay. Hope you're well. Are we still got questions or are we out?
The final question of the day.
4X it is. Make it 4X gold, Mozzie. He's going to send me some 4X now. Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. Dude, that shit weighs a ton, man. So, that's big love. He's going to send me some Aussie beer, some Queensland. I reckon it's been, it's got to be 4 years since I've got into some 4X. So, that's going to be, I don't know, I'm going to have one, and you know what, I'm going to call it a stubby because nobody on this show, unless they're from Oz or Kiwis, they'll know what a stubby is. But it's been so long, I've sucked on a can of 4X or a stubby. So that's going to be a special moment, Mozzie. So, mate, thanks for the love. That's awesome. Okay, next question. What do we got?
Andy asked,
Andy's back.
Should I be going out of my way for difficult clients to avoid a 1-star review?
Yeah, that's deadly, man. You know what? You know what I would say is, and of course, you remember this is me just shooting the shit with you. But the only time, look, we qualify so hard that, I don't know the details around the backstory, Andy. So I do deal with this a lot. Not a lot. I deal with this often as far as we have glitches in the process where clients have a certain point of view and, we look at it and go, how can you think like that? We've had clients with mothers that have got involved and asked the builder if they actually smoke crack. It blows my mind. And that's a fact because I've actually heard an audio recording because that's how, this builder felt. He did feel a little bit, but she wasn't even a client. So, the backstory, nobody wants a 5-star review. We all want 5-star review. Nobody wants a 1-star. I'm really focused on 5-star. But, I think, to avoid a 1-star, okay, let's say that you can't, Andy. Let's say that you can't and it's unavoidable. And, dude, you've broken your back to make this client happy. What you've got to now do is you've got to manage that 1-star, right? And so what you've got to go in there and you've got to do this really ginger because you don't want to turn it into a public shit fight. And sometimes it's easier to give birth, Andy, than it is to raise the dead. So you might have to just cop that one on the chin, learn from it. And what you've then got to do to counter that now is to go get more 5-star reviews. So it goes from a 4.8 4-star review or a 4.5, 4-star and you get some more 5 stars where you're a 5-star 4.8. So just cop it on the chin, man. Sometimes there's no beating it. And like I said, it's easy to give birth. So you might have to go and find some other clients that you can do good work for and try and combat it that way. But man, I wish you all the best. And dude, if you want to just shoot me a fairly brief email and maybe you can give me some more context around the shit fight that's going on, happy to sort of try and just, and dude, I'm not your lawyer. I'm not your coach. I'm just another guy shooting the shit on the internet. But I would love to maybe just analyze the situation a little bit deeper. So max@businessforbuilders.ca. Just either shoot us a DM and we can get you that email and you can hit me up and we can maybe chat about that. And if you're in Canada, man, I'd absolutely spend half an hour on the phone with you if that helps. So next question, what do we got? Tell me where just about, dude, this is 90 minutes. Like,
I know. LS, we got one more question after this.
Righto, I might even shut the gate after this. Let's go.
Yeah,
LS.
no, we shut the gate. We're done.
We're done? Okay,
Sherry
we shut the
signed
gate.
off.
Okay.
Do you think 15% admin and profit is necessary for every contract?
Okay, let's say he's doing Renos. Let's just use let's say he's doing a Reno. We use a markup percentage of 45, and so we allocate 20% of that to overheads, and then we allocate the balance of that to probably a little bit more than that to overheads, depending on Renos, because normally Renos you might be a bit more top heavy, but yeah, I just think that that's 15%. If you're doing cost plus, here's the difference between cost plus and fixed price. Let me just deviate slightly, but when you're doing fixed price. Okay, back up. When you're doing cost plus, you're a commodity because the homeowner can go to all of the general contractors in your area and go, what do you charge as a management fee? I charge 12%, I charge 15%, I charge 18%, I charge 20%. In the client's mind, they all give the same service. Now you're a commodity, right? You're like, that's a commodity. I go down the road, I buy water off the shelf or whatever. That's a commodity. I am sick and tired of general contractors being commodities. What I'm interested in is general contractors that put their neck in a noose and a box under their feet every single day they go out to try and make an honest living and to build a successful business and to provide for their family, and then they get treated like a bloody commodity. It is bullshit. So this is why guys want to argue with me about doing fixed price and cost plus. If you want to be cost plus and be a commodity, fill your boots, knock yourself out. You can go do that. Fine. For me, I want to build a business. Now, if you want to build a business to the level that we do, then you're going to have to take some risk. And that is definitely in the fixed price world. However, systemization, good marketing, properly allocated profit margins. So I would say to you, if 15%, if I've got that question right, 15% markup is not, if that's your gross profit.
15% profit.
Okay, this is the thing. Markup percentage and margin percentage are two totally different things. If you mark up by 25%, you're only making a 20% margin. So where do I talk about markup and margin? What's the podcast?
Right here.
Right. If he
81.
Okay, episode 81 on my podcast, whether it's YouTube or whether it's Business for Builders podcast, I talk about the difference between markup and margin. You're telling me there's 15% profit margin, which makes me think you're only marking up at the most by 20%. That's 15% less than I would mark up a new home. So it doesn't give you anything what I would call, this is what it does, two things. One, it doesn't give you any operational capital for you to invest back in your business. And two, I don't think it's not even covering your costs, because by the time you take out your costs, you're not even making enough to pay tax on. It's just, again, I don't have full context and I might be just saying the wrong thing. But look, just go back in episode, what was that? 81, episode 81, markup and margin. I'm going to talk about how we do all that. Go and investigate there. That'll help. And then just shoot me an email, max@businessforbuilders, if you've got more questions, or DM us, and we'll handle that way as well.
The final question of the day.
Brandon. Yeah, we're done. I'm paying my people overtime right now.
What's the best way to get jobs? Relationships. Jobs, ? Relationships, ?
Oh, dude, what a question. I don't got context. I'm like,
Oh, that's all right. We don't need context. We can just...
Jobs. What's the best way to get jobs? I would say he's saying, how do I get projects?
Yeah.
And then, look, I think, you can, when you start out, hey, look, let me tell you this. Like, the internet is just word of mouth on steroids, folks, okay? Now, that is definitely an art form in itself. There's no question. But what I'm saying is when you're starting out and you want to break in, I think just talking to people, is one way of doing it. You could go to all your family and friends and go, have the same spiel. Hey, Mum, I'm looking for, I want to break into the general contracting world. I want small jobs. Who do you know? If you're talking to some of your girlfriends, let them know I'm looking to do small jobs on the weekend. Like, just get creative. You're like, the level of success that you have will be determined by the level of creativity that you can apply, right? Success is really determined by your ability to be creative. So you've got to really inspire your own thought process. And then you might go and you might have some siblings, and then they've got friends. So work your network that you haven't explored before to get a start. Now, that's only going to last for so long, and then word of mouth is really not enough if you want to really develop, a $1 million plus business. So then you're going to have to fall back on digital. But while you're starting out, that's what I would say. Use your mouth. It costs you nothing. Beat feet, like get on it, beat the sidewalk, talk to people, go up and down the areas or the suburbs, go and get cheap brochures printed. I know it doesn't present very well, but it's like when you're looking for those little jobs, that's what's going to, and then what happens is you get recommendations. A lot of my guys don't need me to get leads. You know why? Because they get recurring business from clients because they know someone that wants a renovation done. And they're like, Max, don't need any leads this week. I've got 2 guys right now that have said I don't need any leads. It's just like, this is what happens. So I noticed Jesse. So I hope that helps. I hope that answers the question to segue into some jobs and to get into some good general construction. Jesse's got a comment there. What's your thought on the new NCC that starts in October? Dude, I got no idea what NCC is. So that, I don't know where Jesse's from, whether he's Canadian or American or whether he's Aussie. I have no clue.
And then Mozzie said something.
Mozzie's back in.
Rainy weather.
And you're on the Goldie, mate. Damn. Yeah, well, it doesn't stick around for very long. That I know. So the F&I is tapping out. We're all tapping out, folks. This is it. I'm not even going to ask you for any more questions. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Go build a kick-ass business, and we will see you on the next episode. National Construction Code. That sounds American. Sorry, dude. He just got that in. Sweet as. Good on you, Andy. I'm going to try and switch all this shit off. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on the next one, guys and girls.